Thanks so much for joining us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Joy Lim-Nakrin. Just want to share with you some of the top stories that we're following right now, starting with this. We have now heard from the family of a man who has now become the 10th inmate to die at the Fulton County Jail just this year. And all this comes as a lot of pressure is mounting to make drastic improvements at the troubled Fulton County Jail. Atlanta News First reporter Rebecca Schramm is in South DeKalb County, where the inmate's family just spoke. Let's watch her story.
My son was so loving, he wouldn't harm anybody. He didn't deserve to die like this.
Natasha Holoman says she immediately flew from her home in Louisiana to Atlanta when she learned her 24-year-old son, Chandre Delmore, had been rushed the day before from the Fulton County Jail into ICU.
I wasn't expecting to see my son in the condition that he was in when I came out here. I thought I would be able to take my son with me back home, but that didn't happen.
According to the sheriff's office, Delmore was found unresponsive in his cell on August 31st. He died in the hospital 3 days later, becoming the 10th Fulton County inmate to die this year. The family has hired the Davis Bozeman law firm to look into how he died.
Immediately, someone has to come in and take control, and we have to clear out the people that are there. I mean, this is a death trap. That's where we are right now.
Again, our thanks to Rebecca Schramm for that report. Also want to let you know about more arrests that have taken place. This is surrounding protests of the controversial Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. Show you some footage there related to all of that. As we know, it's a very controversial project that's underway. Well, now we've learned just in the last few hours, just hours ago, I should say, earlier this morning, 5 more people were arrested while protesting this future site. Atlanta police say that these protesters trespassed onto the site and allegedly chained themselves to construction equipment there. Around this same time, Atlanta police say that at least 24 people gathered outside the site to protest. We did report to you earlier this week when there were 61 individuals charged with racketeering and other crimes related to protests that have at times have turned violent and surrounding what these opponents call Cop City, and they argue that it is encouraging militarization, deforestation, and is very problematic. And you can see the signs there, very passionate about that. I want to just point you to our web article on AtlantaNewsFirst.com because this story has many layers to it. The protests have been going on for quite some time, and the controversy continues. This is a good place where you can kind of catch up on some of the background of it as well, and including the death of Manuel Tehran, one of the activists there at the site. So a lot to catch up on there if you want to take a look at AtlantaNewsFirst.com. That's kind of the best place where you can get a little bit of perspective there. So we talked a little bit also about what happened at the Fulton County Jail. Well, remember, not too long ago, the former president and several of his co-defendants in the massive investigation into alleged election interference, they turned themselves in at the Fulton County Jail. Well, now we've got some new developments. The latest thing here is that there's a lawsuit to get former President Trump off of the ballot, at least in one state, in Colorado. So this is, obviously for the 2024 presidential election. And here in Georgia, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger is responding to that. He's saying that voters, not prosecutors, not politicians, not American vice presidents, not anybody else is going to decide the 2024 election. So again, the situation is that some key liberal groups want to bar having the former president from running for office, as he is facing 4 different criminal prosecutions, including here in Georgia. Raffensperger said doing so would set a dangerous precedent. What you're looking at right now is video from the hearing yesterday, which marked the first televised hearing in this case against the former president and 18 other co-defendants. Of course, they're charged with racketeering and numerous other charges such as conspiracy, false statements, 41 counts in all against these 19 defendants. But a massive investigation underway. And this is another story where I'm going to point you to our website, atlantanewsfirst.com, because there are, again, so many layers to it. Again, we're talking about 4 different criminal investigations. Just go on that Trump investigation tab, right at the top of the page, and you can get caught up with all the latest headlines there. Sorry, this is just being a little slow to load, but that's just a little internet issue there. But once you get this up and running, you can see all of the stories in chronological order, and it just helps you sort out what's going on, because again, it's 4 different criminal investigations concerning the former president, including the one right here in Fulton County, Georgia. This is loaded, so you can take a look there. And this just kind of helps you get everything straight. So, you know, we do anticipate another hearing next week regarding the investigation, the case here in Georgia. But let me bring you back to that video from the hearing yesterday, because that's when several rulings were made. All the defendants did waive their right to appear for the arraignments, which were scheduled to take place yesterday, and they've all entered not guilty pleas. Prosecutors saying that they have 150 witnesses to call in the entire case. They estimate that the trials, no matter how many of them there are going to last 4 months each, because remember, there was an effort, you know, to actually sever some of these cases. 2 of the defendants, who are former attorneys of former President Trump, filed motions to sever their cases to basically have separate trials, and those motions were denied. So the judge basically said, look, everybody's going to be tried together. They're not going to be split off, at least for now. And so those individuals are set to go to trial on October 23rd. But, you know, we'll have to see. There are new motions being filed every day, and that's something that the judge is going to have to rule on, of course, and something we're going to keep a close eye on here on Atlanta News First, Atlanta News First Plus, atlantanewsfirst.com as well. Encourage you to stay up to date with it here. Okay, also, we know that it is very hot outside. And it's a good time for swimming, right? Well, my colleague Sawyer Bussey has a look at some after-school swimming activities available for some of our young ones.
He just took to the water, and she absolutely loved it. Little did we know we had a mermaid the entire time.
There is nothing like watching your child thrive, on land or in the water.
Oh, it's hard not to cry in this moment, because this was a kid who the first day she was scared to even get her head wet.
Nothing like watching your child feel confident when they used to feel afraid.
Oh, it's everything. They feel independent, and they have so much freedom when they're swimming.
Parents are at Goldfish Swim School in Sandy Springs today, watching their kids learn skills that could save their lives if they were to ever fall into the water without an adult around.
Here at Goldfish, we focus a lot on the safety skills. So rolling over to take a breath, holding onto the wall, climbing out of the water. We started as young as 4 months old and go up to about 12 years of age.
They're skills these parents believe need to be taught year-round, not just during summer break when kids are at the pool.
Water safety doesn't stop. You travel, you go on vacation, and they have pools, and it's important that they get to practice and maintain those skills.
According to the Children's Safety Network, more than 900 children drown in the United States each year. Swim lessons were associated with an 88% reduction in the risk of drowning for children 1 to 4 years old.
Drowning is like the silent killer, and I think it's just important for them to be able to get to the edge or to save their own life.
Year-round swim lessons are just as much about maintaining old skills as they are teaching new ones. In Sandy Springs, Sawyer Bussey.
Do you feel strong?
Atlanta News First.